Good afternoon. If you're logging in with me, it is currently 1 o'clock Eastern time. And if you're watching the recording, then it was 1 o'clock Eastern time when I logged in to see who is bright and shiny and on time. And that would be Becky's team in Knoxville. Hello, team at Southern Charm Homes. Hey, Linda in Kentucky, and Sally from Elizabeth City right here in North Carolina. I love it. So welcome to the mid-year check-in from our kicktail session. For those of y'all that follow me regularly, you know that way in the Wayback Machine, we do a year ahead planning session together. We call it Kicktail every single year. A couple of years ago, what y'all had said was, hey, we need to check back in because I'm not good at managing myself. And high five to everybody who's a terrible human resources manager of yourself, because it's probably why you got into real estate in the first place. But it does us a lot of good to have a check-in with ourselves. Oh, and look at all our friends coming in. There's my friend Jason. He's going to be president of the Alamance Burlington Realtors next year. And thank you for serving here in North Carolina. And oh, hey, in the UP. So here is the update. Y'all, I love you so much. And I love that we do this together. By the way, use the comments to connect with each other, because I can't see y'all through the camera, frankly, but I love seeing the comments. And sometimes y'all make friends with one another, which makes my heart glad. But let me show you what y'all said. You said you needed I got some accomplishments and some needs. I got 11 pages worth. So just with all the love in my heart, I can't get to all of this today. But my mama's heart is feeling where you are right now. Let me tell y'all where your colleagues are right now. And you're not the only one if you hear me saying this. I need business help. I only have 3 under contract. I need to ramp up. I don't know how to keep hope. I don't know how to keep hope. I need hope. I need some more focus. I need advice. I need to be positive. I need to be stronger. I need some motivation. I need some stamina. I don't know how to be committed. I don't know how to stay up when people bring me down. I need some grace. All right. So whoever that is, I'm just hugging you from right here, because you know the grace comes from the Lord, and the grace should also be extended by your fellow humans, and it is extended right here. How to not burn out. We will definitely get to that one. And it goes on and on. That was only in the first 4 pages. So before we dig into some of the actual business things that I want to share with you today, just know this: whatever you're doing is going to feel better when you find a way to find your own peace. Okay. I can't give you peace. All I can tell you is that when this business wears on you, because it wears on you, and you talk about something they don't give you in the pre-licensing class, nobody tells you how empty you're going to be dealing with the general public, dealing with agents in your office if you're a broker, dealing with the loss of great staff. I see my work husband on here, Tony Harrington, who's the president-elect for North Carolina. Tony is currently trying to hire an office manager. He wants to hire the best possible person to serve the agents and the clients in his office, but finding that fit can be just exhausting. So I want you to know that at some point in your life, you've got to turn all this off. Turn this off, turn the computer off, turn the video off, and go outside. And I don't care if you're completely out of shape and all you can do is get to the mailbox and back, but you some point have to interrupt the flow so that you can reconnect with what's positive in your life. Because no matter what's happening, you logged in here today for some reason. And as we all like to say, it is better to be seen than viewed. And you are being seen right now. I see you. And I've been in your shoes. I mean, probably this week. I mean, our shoes change all the time. But I want you to know that there's something really good in your life right now. So your first homework assignment for the second half of the year is to stop right now, hit the pause. If you're watching the recording live, people, you can't hit pause. But I want you to say to yourself something really good that's happening in your life. I want you to put it in the comments if you want to. Oh, Tanya Redding, I love her, by the way. She is working very hard in the state of Maryland. She's the chair for the RPAC trustees in Maryland. And she says, I just grabbed my branch manager, grabbed lunch from the local food truck and sat outside for 30 minutes. And I can already tell you, she is ready to do things in a different way. And if it is spooky to go outside today, Mike, you're right. That whole Canadian fire situation is changing the air here too. And we do hope that you're safe. And we're also praying for Guam. They have had their hats handed to them with storms. But I will just tell you, if you can't go outside, pretend. Turn your video on to something that's outdoorsy and just turn all the stuff off. I mean, this is the thing, y'all. You're letting this run your life. You are staring at this all the time. You are replacing real life relationships with this. And I have some people that tell me I didn't respond to to their text fast enough. Well, I have a really good habit of leaving this in my pocketbook, and then I miss out on people who were telling me they were across the room and I'm in the wrong place, which happens far too frequently. But I would not trade that for the face-to-face conversations that matter. I will tell you, last week I had the most fulfilling 2 hours in the Cracker Barrel in Charlotte. I met a realtor friend of mine. She's essentially one of the people I look up to because of the way she conducts everything in life. She is a joy-filled person. I'm not calling her name out because we didn't take a selfie and put it on social because we didn't have our phones out. We were sitting there looking at each other eye to eye, holding hands on the table, and basically camping at that poor waitress's table, listening to each other and talking about the challenges that we're facing and praying over each other. And then the funnest part was, of course, I had my RPAC pin on because even if I'm sitting in the Cracker Barrel in Charlotte, I'm wearing my RPAC pin. And this very well-dressed gentleman was two tables away, these two gentlemen, and I mean Natalie dressed, as in the little hat that men used to wear to church. And he had his little vest on and a pocket square. He was put together. And he walked over because I guess he saw me staring at him because I was admiring that he was in a full suit. And I had just told my friend, I said, I want to age like that with some grace and dignity. You talk about needing grace. We could probably dress more professionally and we would get more from it. So anyway, he walked over and he said, well, what's that pin mean? And I said, I'm a realtor. And he said, oh, give me your card, which, that happens all the time. And it could have been for many a reason, but I reached it to him and told him I'm up here in Cabarrus County and my friend is in another county. And we were splitting the difference meeting in Charlotte. And then as it turns out, he called that evening. He called 4 times because he needed somebody to help his friend. So we're currently helping him. And I want you to know that happened at the end of that 2-hour conversation. It didn't have to happen during my conversation with my beloved friend. The business was still there. The business was 2 tables away. And you know what? God's timing is good all the time. That man was sitting there eating lunch with, as it turns out, his brother. And he walked over right at the right time. And now I have an opportunity as a broker with one of my agents to help his friend. And then it turned out he was the bishop in his church. And so, he is connected. And I do love a bishop. So anyway, that's my reminder to you that's one way to get your feelings and your life back in place. And now, before we dig into the business ideas, do y'all want to hear some of the successes that you have had since January? I have one person who had the largest residential cash sale of a career. High five. I have somebody who says they are continuing to do the work. All right, let's give a high five to somebody doing the work. I'll just remind you, sometimes the success is not the tangible money in your bank account or the actual transaction on the board. Sometimes the success is in doing the work. So high five there. I have somebody here who has a new grandson. You want to talk about a success? Our family should be the top of our success list. I can tell you my daughter has graduated from high school, and there were some moments we didn't know what the outcome was going to be, but she made it across the stage, and next phase in life is coming soon. So that's a huge success, and that's for her, but I get to live vicariously through her. I have somebody on here who is changing companies because they needed something that was more free for them in their business. How about that? That can be a huge win when you find a better fit. And I'm thinking about college with my 2 children. My son is a rising senior and my daughter is going off to college. And I reminded both of them that you can change anytime. I went off to Florida State when I finished high school here, had a full ride. I was going to go be a music teacher. If you didn't know that about me, I was going to teach in the chorus because at a camp one summer, I got to study under Dr. Andre Thomas from Florida State. And buddy, that's why I was going to go be a Seminole. And then after I got there and found out I did not belong in the music program, because if you're all right in Concord, that does not make you good at a top-ranked music school. And so I had a humble pie come to Jesus moment and decided I belonged in something else. And I transferred to Carolina and finished up there. And I told my kids it's okay to change. And I think we forget that sometimes in real estate. You're thinking, I've got listings, I've got signs in yards. It will cost me money to change. But let me ask you this, what does it cost you to stay? If it's costing you your patience and your peace and frankly your soul, then get on out of there and leave bad dollars behind. Yes, go Knowles. I lived in Landis Hall because I was in the nerd herd in the honors dorm over there. Okay, so we have another. Oh, hang on. When I have to talk about, because we're going to talk about this for a second, obtained another investment property. Give a high five to the friend who obtained an investment property, because what I find to be interesting is that there's a lot of excuses being made, especially amongst realtor pros, who say they don't want to get involved in investments, don't have the money, don't have the time, interest rates are too high, the market's too high. That's all the things that you tell your clients not to be worrying about, and then you sit there and worry yourself to pieces. And how many of y'all, let's just be honest, and you can answer in the comments if you are vulnerable enough to raise your hand, how many of y'all wish you had bought some investment properties in 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and up until about the middle of 22 when interest rates were basically free money? How many of y'all let opportunities get away from you? I know that I could have bought more real estate, but I am fairly risk averse. I'm doing pretty good. Could have done better, but it's because I was not focused on building out my portfolio for the future and let a little bit of fear get in my way. Do y'all know what happens when fear gets in your way? It's really hard to win if you let fear get in your way, which frankly, that's why you don't like to prospect. It's just fear. It's not because you don't know who to call. It is not because you don't know what to say. It is just straight up fear. And frankly, in sales and in prospecting, the fear is of rejection. Now, I don't know why y'all think everybody's going to be so ugly to you. People are generally not that ugly to you. They are generally very nice. I think that some of us need to turn off the news and quit clicking on these clickbait headlines, because you've told yourself that the world is out for a fist fight. I will tell you, I walk up and down the streets here in Concord because my office is right here in the downtown. And I say hey to people and they say hey back. I even talk to the traffic that gets stuck at the stoplight right outside my office, because we're right near the corner at Church and Cabarrus. And I will talk to people. They'll roll their windows down and ask me what I'm doing. I stopped and talked to a city worker last week, and I found out that the city worker, her godmother, is in real estate in Shelby, my friend Gay. And I said, it's such a small world, which is why we ought to speak to other people, because then you find out it's nice enough. And when you realize there's all those connections out there, do you realize that all those connections live right here in your phone? Call these people. Quit buying leads off the internet. Call these people. You probably know them. You might not even know why you know them, because some of y'all have no memory, and you can take ginseng for that. So ginseng is good for your memory issues. But I know, Beth, we love Gay so much. So you could go into your phone and say hey to those people. And here's your script. Hey. That's about all you need to do, because they'll say hey right back. Now, if you are up north, I guess y'all say hello or something fancier. But down here in the South, we just like to say hey to people. And no, we're not talking to horses. But the relaxed nature of your phone call is what gets people to connect with you. And right now, the public has questions about real estate. They're concerned. They don't know what to do, because if they read social media, what they get is there's nothing to buy. Y'all, there's inventory. There's not enough, but there's inventory. So quit saying there's nothing out there, because you are creating a narrative. And then they hear it's too expensive to buy. But there's plenty of people that are buying right now at 7%, and they're okay because they did the calculations and the numbers work. And spoiler alert, a whole bunch of us bought our first houses at much higher rates. My first house, 11 3/4. I've told y'all before. And the rate didn't matter. The payment mattered. And when you have a payment that matters, you got to help people push through their own fear. But because you're not calling enough people, they're sitting out there worried. Don't let them worry. And I do want to point one thing out to you, because I'm going to go into your actual needs and questions here. But thank you, Sally. So by the way, make a video. There's another homework assignment for you. If you purchased your first house at a rate higher than we are right now, and it's, ish 7% on a 30-year fixed, go make a video that says, you don't have to be scared of 7. I bought mine at 14. I'll give Sally a script here. And call me. We'll look at the numbers. We have a great local lender who can help you look at down payment assistance and programs. That's our job. Just connect. And then let people make their own good decisions. And they might actually find out that with the way rents are skyrocketing, they might want to buy, and to not let fear win on that. Okay? So you have an obligation to prospect. Your obligation is to go take somebody else's fear away. And here's the secret to that, y'all. When you start making phone calls and you're taking somebody else's fear away because you're bringing in information and knowledge, It's going to lower your own fear because you're going to remember that you are a very amazing, trusted resource. And some of you just forget that sometimes because you do get beat up. Crazy people out there are cussing you out. They are ugly to you. And you sometimes absorb that. I told one of my agents this week, he got an amazing review. And if you follow my social channels, I do love posting when my agents get great reviews because I'm like a mama hen. It makes me so happy. So Vito got this great review and it was glowing. And I sent it over to him because I get to see it first, since I'm a control freak broker. And then I sent it back to him and he said, it feels so good to read that after the week I've had. And I said, that's the secret reason we get reviews, my friend. It's not just to show the world that somebody else liked us. It's so we can feel affirmed when we have to deal with somebody who does cuss us up and down the country, because some people just cannot control their emotions and they take it out on you. But if you could remember the good people, you could make it through the people who haven't yet settled down into their own goodness yet. That's about the best way I could put it. Okay. Now, let's get into this. Oh, by the way, a fear of talking on video. Look, Samantha, you're talking to me across YouTube right now. So Shazam, you're talking to a video. Your fear should be gone. And this is the camera I use for anybody that wants to ask. I use my iPhone all the time. And I do use a tripod sometimes. And sometimes I don't because I'm working on my bingo wings. And so that's why I have to hold it up like a tripod. Okay. So, oh, hang on. We have the new association executive for Orange Chatham on here in North Carolina. That would be up outside of the Raleigh-Durham region. Orange Chatham is where Chapel Hill is located. So go Heels. And welcome to the North Carolina Realtor family, Ashley. I want to remind y'all too, when the markets get really rocky, your association executives and your local and state associations take a lot of that heat because there's agents that don't have a good outlet and they take it out on our professional staff. So why don't you just reach out to your professional staff and give them a high five, take them a pound cake, do something nice for them, because this trade association won't run without good professional staff. And I can say after riding around North Carolina nonstop, we have the best. So I know the rest of y'all wish you did, but you just have to be in second best, and that's fine too. All right. So, okay, let's go to what you're looking for here. All right. I'm doing all the things and still don't have business. Okay. So all the things, I'm just going to challenge you on that. I doubt you're doing all the things. Many of us think that we are doing everything, but there's something missing. So my challenge to you on that is, look, I'm going to lean around my desk here. And if you notice how clean my office is, that's because my Michelle and my Pia, they came in here and cleaned it up because they were horrified by my realtor state of things. I recommended this planner back at the beginning of the year. And what needs to be in here is all your daily activities. Your daily activities to generate business should include the following. And somebody can remember all these things. The first thing you want to do in your day is call somebody. You do not have to do an hour of power. Just take that out of your vocabulary because y'all can't do an hour of anything. I love you. You're making a phone call. So you're starting your day with that. And after you make one, you're probably going to make 2 or 3. So just set yourself a block of time, 30 minutes maybe. You do not have to set a ton because frankly, you're going to avoid it if it's too big. I know this. Make it a small amount. Oh, the planner, Harley. It's called the Simplified Planner. And it is by Emily Ley, Ley. And it's got a pineapple on the back, but it's right side up. It is not the upside down one that I found out later in life is something you should not have outside your house. Oh, I was horrified. But it's called the Simplified Planner. I like it because it has a room at the front for me to write down my personal notes to myself. And then I can follow my monthly tracking. And then I can follow my daily. So I can track down what I have to get done and then what I also must get done, because the have tos and the must are two different. That's the way I work my life. Okay, so anyway, you got to make a phone call. And that's all I ask of my agents is one phone call a day. And I have found this. If you make one phone call, the fear will dissipate because they're not going to cuss you out. You call somebody in your phone, they're going to say, hey, what are you doing? And you'll say, I'm just looking at my phone, saw your name and thought I would call. What's up? And they're probably going to ask you about interest rates. They might ask you, is it too late to sell? They might ask you, is there anything out there to buy? So back to what I was suggesting before, that we're putting some negative stories into the marketplace. You can actually take those back out by calling people because they would rather ask you than ask Google. You are more valuable to your friends and neighbors than Google is. Did you know that? Because if they go to Google and say, what's happening in the real estate market, Google's going to spit out a blue million things that are not relevant to the zip code where they live or even the neighborhood inside that zip code. I might come up if they Google me. And if I am one of Christy Allen's people and Christy's in Virginia Beach, they're going to say, well, this woman don't know anything about Virginia Beach. Totally correct and fair. I don't. So if you Google information, it might not be the local information. And it could also be a video that was done in 2008. Slightly different market conditions than we have right now because you can't control those algorithms. They are third-party controlled. That's why you want to be that resource for people so that if they read negative news, they have a resource. That's why you make your phone calls. So actually, let's just back that up. Make the phone call the second thing you do. First thing you do, I want you to log into your multiple. Go into your multiple listing service and look at the hot sheet. When you look at the hot sheet, you'll see, all right, there's 8 coming soon listings and 14 actives. Oh, sometimes if you realize there's business in the market and you didn't get it, that might light a fire under you. But some of y'all, that might not work. So it depends on your competitive nature. So if that works on you, look at the hot sheet. If you don't think about it competitively, look at it as the information that you have in the market. Like, oh, the average price of what's hitting right now is $445. Then when you pick up the phone, you have oh, hey, did you know the average price right now is $445? That is great information to have. If you can see my whiteboard behind me, I was doing some population updates in my county because I do like to do research and make sure that my talking points are up to speed because, frankly, I've been in the business now 23 years, and if I tell a story, sometimes it's out of date, which is why if y'all like me telling that trailer story that I sold for $8,000, you have to laugh because you know how long ago that was. You could not even begin to buy even a sad, tired, single wide with no stairs and squirrels inside for $8,000. But anyway, I was looking at the populations, and so I'm looking at the population of Concord, Kannapolis, Harrisburg, Midland, and Mount Pleasant. I didn't realize Mount Pleasant had crested 2,000 people finally. They've been sitting at 1,900 for a long time. Shazam, they're at 2222, which I thought was hilarious. But that gave me a phone call to make to my Mount Pleasant contacts of, I'm just doing some research on the town. Did you know we're over 2,000 people now? Whoop, whoop. And what's that got to do with anything? Nothing, but it's a conversation. And for many of y'all, this is what gets in the way of your fear is you don't know what to be conversant about. So find a number, find a stat, and then just toss it in there. Did you know? Here's a stat for you. You ready? Pencils and paper, people? I'm going to go ahead and talk to the team that is together because I know that they are ready to roll. 97% of today's consumers doing real estate, so 97, so all but the preppers and the hermits that are off the grid, use an app or a website to start their real estate process. Now, before you get mad, don't get mad. They're out there gathering information. They're Googling and they're YouTubing and they're Instagramming. All right. They're probably on apps that have houses. One of them rhymes with willow trees and the other one is homes.com and realtor.com. They're on all these apps and they're looking at houses. 97% start there. Do you know how many wind up using a broker or an agent? 90%. So a few people go out and figure it out on their own. Cool. That's great. There should always be a do-it-yourself market. And I can always spot a do-it-yourself bathroom because I can tell who does and does not know how to use spacers. And so when you learn that, you can actually also spot somebody that's done real estate on their own because they get really tangled up in the changes. For example, in North Carolina, we have forms changes coming on July 1st. And the forms are one of the state realtor benefits. And Ohio friends, if you're on here, I hear y'all are trying to get state forms. Do what you can. It's good for the consumer, saves a lot of money. But I know that if all those things are about to change, a consumer who does not have a very knowledgeable, up-to-the-minute realtor might not even have the best and possible current information. That's one of the advantages you have. So if you know they're starting online, but you know they finally use you, how do you bridge that gap? That's actually going to be the secret to several things you guys asked for was lead generation and momentum and how to drive new business. I'm stuck in a rut. How do I know the current market? I think I'm in a recession. I always love that. I think we're in a recession. We are in a recession. Now, it's being propped up on toothpicks right now, but it's really important right now that you're paying attention to a lot of economic data so that you can be prepared for how to handle any changes that come. Now, recession doesn't mean that houses don't sell. That's one of the misnomers in real estate. Houses are bought and sold in every kind of market conditions. And here's Mike saying 34, 33 in all of Connecticut, 21,000 before the pandemic. But you know what? That's not zero. So we have to think about our language and how it can be a deterrent to people. Instead, if you take the positive, glass half full, and say, we have 3,400 available. That's more than we had yesterday. Yay. It's hard, but it's doable. So anyway, when you think about all those pieces, start to learn some stats. One piece of market information can change your prospecting and change your business. So you're going to find a piece of information, and maybe you just took that one from me. You're like 97% start online, 90% use me. All right, how do I bridge the gap? Here's how you bridge the gap. Start thinking about your marketing and how it can do that work for you. Start making videos, or if you're not a video person, then let somebody else hold the camera because you've got to get on video. You're crazy if you don't. That's what the search engines favor. And if you want to be found, you're going to have to suck it up. But you could also write something down and let somebody else make the video, I guess. But start thinking about this. Tell your public. I know that most of y'all start your real estate search online, but when you're ready to make sense of it, call me. Go ahead and acknowledge it. I find that a lot of agents in this business just dig their heels in and stomp their feet and say, I can't stand the apps and the websites and grrr. All right, let go of all of that. You can be frustrated by it, but realize all the information anybody needs is out there. We are in an information overload society, but knowledge is not everywhere. That's what you're bringing to the table, is that knowledge. And so if we want to do all the things to have business, have some knowledge. So you're going to pick up a new piece of information on your day. And your day, by the way, I'm talking 5 days a week, not 7. That is very bad for your health and makes you a pretty crappy realtor too, frankly, because you'd be too exhausted to do a good job. So we're going to find a piece of information and we're going to call somebody. And then after you call that somebody, you can then check your social media. So notice we're going to block in the social media. For the person who said over here, I need to stick to my time blocks, you just have to. Build the discipline, build it in. Use airplane mode, set a timer on your watch. I don't have any of the, what do they call them, complications, where you can make your watch talk to you with text and stuff. It's all cut off. I use it for steps and for time, and then I will check text if I'm in a place where I can't look at my phone, but it's not pushing to me. Tell this to stop pushing. Tell this to stop pushing. I don't push text anymore. I go pull them down. That can make a huge change. And then I set my little timer here. And I know 30 minutes from now, I have another phone call to be on. Well, this is going to buzz on my wrist. And now it's time to change gears. You have to do this for yourself. Nobody's going to do it for you. I wish there was a magic sauce to discipline. There's not. For anybody to ever ask me why I run every day, it's because at this age, if I stop, I can't start back up again. Y'all know what that's like. You know what it's like when you get home at the end of the day and sit on the couch. You're done. So you better get all your chores done and get supper started before you sit down. Otherwise, you'll wind up eating Chinese takeout, and that sodium is not good for anybody. Okay, so back to the things you have to get done. Piece of information, make a phone call. Then you can look at social media, and then we're going to turn off social media. We're going to close down all those windows. Do not leave them open so they're flashing at you all day. That's bad, bad, bad. Then I want you to go out into your community. If you want to build business, be visible in your community. And what that means is not just running around with a name tag on, spraying out cards. This is walking in to a local coffee shop instead of Starbucks and buying a cup of coffee. This is going into the local hair salon and asking what products they use and who do they serve, and just find out. Be curious. Your curiosity is one of the best tools you have. And we've suppressed it because we're in an era of narcissism. If you get curious about somebody else, it's going to naturally push down your own tendency to be a narcissist. That's a good thing, because everybody else loves to be paid attention to. They love for somebody else to check on them. So be that person. That's the front half of your day. Now, what do you do with the second half? Well, hopefully somebody in the first half needed something and now you can follow up. Or maybe you want to put together a new relocation kit for your area. If you're in an area with net imports coming in, that would be Cabarrus County. We have a huge influx coming in because we have so many new jobs. We have a relocation kit for people who are moving here for work. How did I build that? I will tell y'all a secret. So lean in real close here on the internet on an open stream. We go to the Visitors Bureau in the Chamber of Commerce and pull brochures. It's not as hard as you think. Some of y'all think you have to create a book and make it beautiful, but what you're worried about there is perfection. I ain't worried about perfection. I'm worried about having something available. So go build that out so that if somebody calls in, you can follow up with something tangible and tactile, and that's a huge benefit. Now, maybe you're in an area that has net exports. People are leaving your area. Say you're in California. We call them economic refugees that are coming here from California, economic refugees from New York because of property taxes. We say, come on in. But if you're in those markets, you need to have a package prepared that talks about the cost of selling, and maybe you have some pre-packages done for the areas people come to. If you happen to be in Morristown, New Jersey, you would know that Charlotte, North Carolina is the pipeline. They come here and land in 28277 almost every time. And so I talk to agents in Morristown and make sure they have all the information about 28277 so that I can make them look more intelligent and professional when they're talking to a seller. This is that power of networking, and it's the power of showing up online at these things and looking to see who's in the comments. Check out some of the cities, go look at the profiles and make a connection. But it's not necessarily about connecting with everyone. You don't have to know all of the 1.5 million realtors, but you should know if your market works with Morristown, New Jersey, or whatever city it is, and get to know some contacts there and start thinking about your business really strategically. And once you do those kinds of things, you're building that out in the afternoon of your day. And now you've hit 3 o'clock and you'd like to take a nap, but fight off the tendency to nap and go to your MLS and go look at the hot sheet and pick out a property. And then you'll see something that looks interesting, and I want you to go preview it. And don't tell me. I don't want to hear it from anybody that you already know all the houses in your market, because you don't. Nobody does. I've been in the business 23 years. I've sold over 4,000 houses. And even those 4,000 houses, if I walk back in right now, somebody else lives there and they're in a different stage of life. And so the property is going to be completely different. How exciting is that? That's why I preview. I preview to go make sure that my knowledge of the market is up to speed. So do a house a week, a house a day. If you are early career, so you've been in this less than 2 years, you need to be previewing at least weekly and probably every day. And I mean 1 to 2 houses. Now, don't be a snake about it. Don't lie and say your cousin is looking to buy. Don't bring a fake buyer. Talk to the listing agent and say, hey, I'd like to preview. I want to get to know this neighborhood. As a listing agent, I would say, well, that's great, baby. Come on, make an appointment through Showing Time, and we're glad to have you, because I can then tell my seller that's a preview, so they won't stress out and they won't think it's a potential buyer. And you've been honest in gaining knowledge about the marketplace. And I know I'm not the only realtor that loves having colleagues and competitors that are highly knowledgeable, because it makes the whole profession easier if we're all trying to make our A game better. Okay. That will help your business, by the way. The other thing that will help your business grow, if you're doing all the things, I didn't go look you up, friend, and I hope you're on here because I'm not calling your name out, because that would be considered ugly. But if you're doing all the things, does that include video? Because here's some of the videos you can make right now. I want all of y'all to tell me a question that a buyer or seller has asked you in the last 48 hours. You can drop it in the comments, something you've been asked. And what you've been asked might have to do with, what are the schools for this house? How much are the monthly utilities? How do I find a good lender? What's involved in the home inspection process? How much deposit do I need? What is this crack over in the wall? People ask all kinds of things. So start dropping some questions in. And what you'll do when you see that question, pick up the phone, camera, do it in landscape if you're going to put it on Facebook or YouTube, put it in portrait if you're going to put it on Instagram or Pinterest, and answer that question. It's how you grow your business. You don't grow your business by saying, I'm the number 1 agent in my market and I've sold everything and I know things and I'm amazing. Nobody cares. So why don't you answer what they're already asking? There's a book that I recommended. Was it 2 kicktails ago? Was it You Ask, They Answer? No, They Ask, You Answer. So good. Such a great way to look at it. Oh, look at that. Jennifer's got it. I'm just going to jump on Jennifer's comment coming in from YouTube. Can I make money if I sell in 2 years? That's the easiest video you'll ever make, right, Jennifer? Because all you got to say is it depends. Some houses go up and some houses go sideways and some houses go down, and some markets go up and some markets go sideways and some markets go down. And we won't know until we get there. But what we do know is inside those 2 years, we have this little tiny wicket we've got to pay attention to called capital gains. And now you have multiple videos you could make off of one question. Samantha's asking, are interest rates going to increase in late summer and fall? And actually, would you like me to answer that for you? Would you like the Lee Brown opinion on interest rates? I'm going to wait to you tell me if they want if you want me my opinion on interest rates as y'all drop some questions in over here. Remember, anything you've been asked, drop it in the comments so you can actually then, there's what, over 100 of y'all on here right now. If you all put a question in here and then you made a video a week, you'd have 2 years worth of content. Look, see, this is what crowdsourcing should look like, not randos from the internet. I mean, y'all don't know each other, but you know me, so I'm your common ground. I'm 1 degree of Lee Brown instead of 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. And you can realize all of you folks are right here in a space where you're experiencing a lot of similar things and you can help each other, okay? Oh, Jonathan. So Jonathan's one of our realtor leaders in North Carolina. He is from out in Albemarle area, way out in the edge of North Carolina, almost in Virginia. And a lot of their members are from Virginia, frankly. And he's got a question. It's a tough time for sellers right now, isn't it? And so you know the answer for Jonathan's video, right? Because he makes a lot of good stuff. You should follow him online. Hey, I know you're in Elizabeth City, but you get credit for the whole area there, buddy. So you know what the answer is? Is it a tough time for sellers right now? It depends. Because if a house is perfectly perfect, it's going to probably have multiple offers. If that house is a hot mess, it will have to be cheap. But the houses we're seeing a lot of time in the market right now are kind of They're not bad, not good. They're just kind of And so that's when you as the agent have to bring some energy into the process to help them get zhuzhed up so that it's not so hard for your seller. Okay, so since a couple of y'all said you want to know what's happening on interest rates, full disclosure, this is a guesstimate, and let me get my prop for giving guesstimates out. And this is, don't tell me it's not biblical to have a crystal ball because it's not used that way. It's just an actual glass ball that I use as a prop. So don't turn me into my pastor. So I want you to know that this is not real and doesn't give us any answers, by the way. It's just because people think we know things. And when you're in this business, you need to be paying enough attention that you can intelligently answer. I find that a lot of us are so busy in our lives and in our businesses that we just take somebody else's information and run with it without being critically thoughtful about it and asking questions, okay? So here's what I want you to know about interest rates. The Fiscal Responsibility Act was just passed. And no, it was not fiscal responsibility. Let's just call it what it is. People in D.C. would not know a credit limit or a budget if it hit them in the face. So here's what we're dealing with. The fact that they have delayed all those decisions until 2025 is going to cause about $4 trillion in spending, which they don't care about in DC because they're not regular people who have to make ends meet. $4 trillion in additional spending is going to put more money, more currency into the marketplace. When you increase the supply, that decreases the value, which means what goes up? Inflation is going to go up. Now, I did see an opinion from a very respected economist that says inflation doesn't look like it's going up. That's not logical, y'all. If you put $4 trillion into the economy, inflation's going to go up. When inflation goes up, interest rates have to go up because the only way to stop inflation is for interest rates to be above inflation rates. That's just how economics works. Now, I say this because we are in a very weird economic time where we have pretty bad monetary and fiscal policy at the top, and our clients are paying the price for it. The 7% we see today might look like a bargain if we wind up at 9%. So when you're prospecting and somebody says, what's going to happen with interest rates? What you would say is, I don't know. But with the things that are going on right now, it's possible we could go higher. And I think it's probable because the Fed's already signaled another 50 basis point raise in interest rates coming up soon, which is going to raise rates. I personally think we're going to be at 9 within the next little window here. So we're making sure to tell our clients, if it works at 7, then we can move forward. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It's your call. If I'm wrong and it drops back to 5, then they'll have the ability to refinance. That's generally going to be something that lenders will always have available. But you've got to be thoughtful about this because the other thing that's happening in addition to that additional spending that's coming into the marketplace is our banks are at risk right now. We have already had several banks to fail. If you are not talking to your mortgage lenders about their underlying source of funds, that's being attacked right now as well. And so credit worthiness is going to get more important. And we're in a weird time. So I say all of that because your career is made in weird times. It's not made in soft times. What did they say? Weak times make good men, Good men make good times. Good times make weak men. Weak men make hard times. It's a cycle. And so when we're in hard times or we're heading into hard times, you get to be strong if you're a good one. So be the good one. Answer questions, give people an it depends. Don't throw down a gauntlet and say, I'm right, I'm wrong. No, it depends. Things go all over the place. But be that person who gives both sides of the story so that you can be helpful. That's the most important thing, is to be helpful. Okay. So that's your homework assignment, friend who asked that. So now you have some questions coming in here. Make sure you're dropping in your questions for what you've been asked by buyers and sellers. Let me jump ahead to something here. I have a reminder. This was not even a request. This was a reminder to all of you. This person needed to get it off their chest, to please use the voice part of your phone more often. And can we all just say amen to that? Because there's so much power in your voice. There's energy, there's inflection, and frankly, there's humanity in it. Now, if you're a millennial type person or a Zoomer, then you're one of the young people I talk about, and you're going to tell me, my people don't answer the phone, don't do voicemail. All right, call them anyway, and then text them and say, hey, I tried to call you, quit screening me. And that generally works. All right, I have somebody here that said they want to get back to reminding the sphere that they're here to help them get through changes in their lives. This reminds me of a wonderful opportunity that all of you have. So back to this concept of possibly rising interest rates, continued low levels of inventory, continued affordability issues, right? Because I don't think house prices are going to tank out, except for the Bay Area, which is already tanking. And did y'all see the Hilton in San Francisco is closing up shop? That's 2,900 hotel rooms. Commercial markets just really under a lot of pressure right now. So the Bay Area is down. New York City is down. Most areas are stable or up. And if you think about it, one of the reasons house prices aren't going to fall is inflation itself. And so when the dollar is devalued and it takes more dollars to buy things, that holds up house prices too. So all of that being said, when you are calling your sphere, if you work with people that are a little bit older than me, I call myself medium aged, and some of y'all are medium plus. And so if your client base is medium plus or medium plus plus, they're probably a little concerned about their kids and grandkids' ability to own real estate in the future. So what if you start calling people that are on the other side of the hill and said, hey, maybe now's a good time to help your kids and grandkids buy something? What if you just be that person who starts that conversation? I do have a client right now that's in the process of buying a house for her granddaughter, and the granddaughter's very young and not able to buy anything herself yet, and grandma's paying cash. Why is she doing that? She said, I don't know if she's going to live here or not, but she'll have a piece of real estate. Now, talk about a powerful message. Grandma gets it. She knows how impactful that house is that she's been in all these decades, and she knows what it could mean to her granddaughter. So she is looking out for that granddaughter's future. That could be part of your prospecting conversations, is if you want to help somebody younger than you, I can show you how. And it doesn't have to be a cash purchase. It could be a gift letter. We have a lot of amazing mortgage lenders on here who probably could walk you through the process of buying with a child or grandchild. And let's see, Valerie needs an Economics for Dummies video that explains it as simply as you do. Well, this is it. Welcome to Economics for Dummies. But actually, my favorite econ professor at Carolina, he made his own wine in the basement, but he would never let students have it. And he's passed on now. I wish he was alive, because finally I'm old enough to go drink his wine. All right, so we have a question here. Oh, I'm in a new market. I need to meet people. I don't know anybody. Hey, you know what you can do? Go to the grocery store. Woo! It's my favorite place to hang out. I love going to the grocery store. We should all love it. If you are in real estate, you need to delete the Instacart app right now. Delete it. Delete DoorDash. Delete any of those things that have you hiding in your house. And don't tell me you're tired, and don't tell me you're busy, because those are excuses. The amount of time that it would take you to run into the food line and buy your 3 things and run back out is still less than it would be waiting on Instacart to come and charge you all those service fees. Now, your argument might be you're helping the local economy or some wonderful young person. Okay, that's great. Go support the young people working in the food line at the cashier's register, because I forever am seeing people in the grocery store, and I love being a part of community. So if you're new in an area, pick a grocery store. Don't go to all of them, okay? So you got to pick your favorite haunts, and you got to land on them right quick. So if you work with first-time buyers and people on a budget, maybe you want to hang out at Aldi, or whatever your discount grocery store is. I think Aldi is like the Big Lots of grocery stores. It's just too much risk for me. I can't handle it, but I'm cheap. So I like Food Line. And then I will go to Lowe's Foods because they're North Carolina owned. Publix is too expensive for me. So if you see me in there, I'm desperate. And Harris Teeter, I'm mad at because they gave me a senior discount without my permission, and it was very hurtful. And so you got to figure out those pieces. Go to the gas station, quit paying at the pump. Why y'all pay at the pump? One of my best lifelong clients is the guy who owns 22 gas stations in and around Charlotte. How did I meet him? Because I was going in to buy my gas. And because when I started my real estate career, I was working primarily buyers, used a lot of gas. And finally, he said to me, why are you here all the time? And I said, I am in real estate trying to sell a house. Why are you here all the time? He said, I own this place. I said, well, here's my card. That's what you should be doing. Have your cards available. I need to restock mine now that I've said that out loud. It reminds me that I've gotten empty in my pocketbook. Ooh, let me lay them out here on my desk so I don't forget. Have your business cards available. You don't have to wear a big shiny name tag. I wear a big shiny RPAC pin because I think it puts off a much shinier message. But just be available to talk to people. Y'all, some of you are never available. You're just not. You walk around with this thing in front of your face, leave it in your pocketbook. Or gentlemen, leave it in your pocket. Or leave it in the car. Just walk around, make eye contact with people. Some of my best contacts in life have come from eye contact. Let me give you a real life story. This is where the business lives, and you don't have to be from a city. I was in, what city was I in? I don't even remember, but it won't here. And so, an RPAC pin. Oh, Harley, did you really ask me about RPAC? Oh, baby. This is the Realtors Political Advocacy. This is what we do. This is us doing work with Fannie and Freddie, regulatory bodies, legislative affairs. We don't do Republican and Democrat politics. We do property rights politics. And I love that we do very not sexy, wonky policy work that protects our consumers in every price range and in every zip code. And we do so much interesting political work, and you'll never hear about it in the news, but you can hear about it from your local and state realtor association. And if you want to know how we handle it at the national level, we call ourselves the Realtor Party because we are purple. You can go to realtorparty.realtor, and that will tell you more about how you can get one of these fancy pieces of jewelry, because that is my most expensive piece of jewelry. And I'm trying to upgrade it this year to the next level, and don't tell my husband because he'll cry. So anyway, we're back to talking about, what was I talking about before I got distracted by my RPAC pin? Oh, where your business is located. So I was in a state where I don't know where I was, and I was at the front desk and checking into the hotel, and I'm talking to a lady standing near me. And we struck up a conversation with the front desk agent and just started chatting. Her tooth was hurting. I asked her where she lived. She told me where she lived. I said, let me help you find a dentist. How can I find a dentist? Because I'm a realtor and I got realtor friends everywhere. We can get a connection going. Remember when I fell and busted my teeth last year? I was lucky to be in Dayton where I had a realtor friend who could hook me up with the dentist. If you're thinking about being available for other people, it changes the game. And you don't have to be a lifelong resident to be available for other humans. So in that conversation, I found out she was a 16-year renter. I said, man, you ever thought about buying a house? She's like, I thought about it, but I don't know how. It's too expensive. There's nothing out there. I said, baby, we can help you. So currently she's working with a lender. She's about 40 points away on her credit from being able to buy, and she is focused. And that came from a conversation at the front desk at a hotel. That's the power you have of being out and about. Now, especially when you're a new resident to an area, let's say you relocated in from somewhere else, you have a new perspective too. You could start making videos that say, things I learned on moving to wherever you are. I had to find a dentist, and I love this one. Had to find a hairdresser, and I love this one. You could share all of those connections you're making with somebody else. And for those of y'all that are thinking, but Lee Brown, I've lived here in my whole life. Yeah, you can do these things too. Hey, what's up? Exactly. Oh, look, Kay says, get in the longest line with the cashier wearing her R pin. Harley, your local or state association can get you signed up with this. If you're a realtor, look for where you pay dues, and I promise you, honey, they will hook you up. Connie, I love that. Calling it the Walmart walk around. Connie's one of my friends in Florida. She said, put a loaf of bread in the cart and talk to people. That's true. And if you put a loaf of bread in the cart, then you can talk about how it's very unhealthy and usually full of high fructose corn syrup. And then I can find my people, because I have found that my best clients speak my language, which grocery store is a great way to do that. So let's see. I forgot what I was saying. So anyway, if you are from the area you live in, so I'm from Cabarrus County where I conduct real estate, I could still do all the things I'm suggesting to you, because Have you ever realized that sometimes we're never tourists in our own towns? I mean, you've probably got a cool history museum in your area that only the fifth graders have to go to on a field trip, and you've never set foot in there, but maybe you've been to the nation's capital and you've visited all the museums and monuments. So become a tourist. That can be your summer assignment. All right, that's your official summer assignment, my accountability people. Be a tourist in your own city and make a little video talking about how great your area is, and people should check something out. And I'll remind you of something else. Whenever you make little videos and post, you don't have to say, it's always a great time to buy or sell. You don't have to be gross and icky as a real estate agent. People that find you to be relatable and not irritating, they'll look at your profile and they'll say, oh, well, that's a realtor. Well, if she knows this much about X, then she must know about houses. Because the old story of you don't have to wear all your jewelry just so folks will know you have it applies to real estate too. Okay. Let's see. I need better time management skills. I need more clarity on my time. I need help with my time. I don't know how to get myself motivated on time. I need some better planning. Time and time and time and time. All right. So I'm going to give you a little bit of time management advice to take into the second half of the year. You've got to determine a time to get up in the morning. No more getting up when you feel like it. No more snooze button. Do you hear me? I'm going to shake the long bony mom finger at you. Don't hit the snooze button. That is the worst thing you could ever do. I know you don't want to get up. I know the bed is comfortable. I know the cat's probably curled up next to you and you do not want to get up. Get up. The secret is throwing the covers off and slinging your legs over the edge. And you can cuss under your breath, although you're not supposed to cuss. I'm working on it myself. That's my accountability measure I've got to get back to. But if you just start getting up, you're going to find your day changes because you're going to set an expectation for yourself. Time management is all about expectations. And so start with what you expect from yourself. I like to get up early, not because I like to get up early, but because I like what getting up early does for me. So catch that again. I don't enjoy getting up at 4 a.m., but I enjoy what getting up at 4 a.m. does for me. That gives me time to run. This morning, I got to have a 40th birthday run with one of my girlfriends, and she's hating getting into the 40s, and all of us told her how wonderful it is, and she's going to love it very soon here, but she's our young friend. I wouldn't have had that conversation if I had stayed in bed. I would have missed a beautiful sunrise. I would have missed seeing, a dog running on the side of the road. I would have missed that humanity. You miss out on things when you don't hold yourself to some level of accountability. Now, let's take that and bleed that over into your business. If you don't hold to these prospecting ideas of calling people and calling people back and sending emails, and I know you want it to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. It has to get done because when you don't do it, they feel ignored. Your time management is about the impact on somebody else a lot of times. Think about why we read things like the Bible over and over. I've read the whole Bible all the way through multiple times, and it's new every single time. And that's not just because it is a living word, but it's because I'm in a different place every time I read it. And when I read that, it's trying to make me on my journey run towards Jesus. I got to go find him. And that's something I can give to other people. If you get off your A game and you just let your life get away from you, if you let this take your energy, your life, and your focus, other people are missing out. And I'm just going to tell you this. Y'all know that wherever you are in real estate, there is a snake or a thief or a liar in real estate in your market. Now, we ought to turn them in. We have to have a self-policing code of ethics. You know all of that. And by the way, National Code of Ethics Day is coming up June 29th. Make sure your association is signed up. But the reality is, when we don't turn in the bad actor, a good neighbor could get trapped with them. That's one of your responsibilities in keeping yourself on target and keeping yourself managed, is that if you're not in touch with somebody, they might get tangled up with somebody that could hurt them. Now, I wish I could believe everybody's out for other people's best interest, and they're not. But if you are, I know you're going to have to dig a little deeper some days. I get it. This is a hard business, and it's a lonely business, which is frankly why I drop my videos, and it's why I do this, so that you don't have to feel like you're alone. I don't even know who's watching this, but your friend here in Concord gives a rip about your best interest. I really do. And I have a prayer list as long as my arm and longer, because that's the only way I can get through every day. You want your time management back? Tell your time to behave. Okay, let's see. Oh, here's a good one. I need $8,000 more in volume. Well, you're doing good. That's that little single wide I sold several years ago. Ha, ha. Okay, leadership skills. Oh, let's talk about leadership skills for a second, because when we're talking about leadership, we often think about it as somebody over here doing something else. Leadership's right here. Leadership is noticing something around you that you would like to make better. Now, maybe that's leadership in the school your kids go to. Maybe that's leadership in your faith community. Maybe that's leadership in your real estate business. Maybe that's leadership in the run group that you're in. You can lead anywhere in life. And usually people start leading because they see something that they want to be better. And then they make a decision to bring a solution to it. All I ask for from our leaders is that they bring solutions. They don't bring complaints. I work really hard because I know I can bring complaints. I know this about me because I do see where the challenges are, and I can fall into the rabbit hole of everything's a mess, but I'm always going to be looking for solutions. And I thought about that this past week. I was visiting with a 50-year realtor. I mean, think about that, y'all. For 50 years, this gentleman's been doing professional real estate. He was talking about what they built in their county. 50 years ago, they built the GIS, the Geographic Information System that we all rely on today. And I'm just sitting there thinking, holy smokes, you have no idea how easy you made it for us. But he saw an opportunity to fix something that wasn't working well. And you know the impact of him doing that volunteer work 50 years ago? People like me can conduct a real estate business today. And so when you feel frustrated in your leadership journey, go back to square one. Do I see a problem? Do I also have a solution? And then who's going to benefit from this? If the solution is only for you, that's not leadership. If the solution is so somebody else can grow, that's going to keep you focused on your journey, and the rest of us are going to cheer for you in that pathway. Okay, let's see. We got one over here about connecting in a more intentional way with past clients. All right, I want you to call your past clients and tell them something that's interesting right now. So intention has to do with timeliness as much as anything else. So what's timely in your market? I can tell you something right here. It is June 7th, 1:57 p.m. Eastern Time. I am in North Carolina. Do you know what is in right now? Strawberries are in. And in fact, they are coming out the ears of strawberry farms. So what if you went to a strawberry patch and you bought a few pints of strawberries or quarts? As you buy a quart because they're kind of big this year. We had a lot of rain. And then you call your past clients and say, hey, do y'all want a quart of strawberries? What are they going to say to you? No, don't you ever call me again. Doubt you're going to get that response. They're probably going to say, are you serious? Sure, come on by. Now you can stop by and say, here you go. And you spent $5 to $8. I don't know what you paid for strawberries. I had a whole bunch given to me today, which is why they're top of mind because I'm a realtor and I squirrel. They're going to be so grateful that you thought of them. And now you're at their door handing them a dessert that's not going to kill them with high fructose corn syrup. And they're going to probably ask you a question, how's the business? Don't you say, it's rough. No, you're going to say, every day's a new day in real estate. There's your script because that's the darn truth. You're not going to say, it's a great time to buy or sell because it may or may not be. You're not going to say the market's rocky, the market's rough, interest rates are up, there's no inventory. No negative talk. All you're going to say is, every day is different in real estate. There's people who are buying, there's people who are selling, and I'm doing my best to help them. That's your answer. There's no lying about it. There's no fluffery about it. There's reality about it. That's the number one thing you can do for your business between now and the end of the year. The last thing I want to answer, because I'm out of time here, and I appreciate y'all hanging with me this long, and I hope this is helpful to you in some way, because obviously if you've never tuned in with me before, you didn't realize I'm this much of a stream of consciousness girl. So, hey, what's up? My friend Jeff Turner, who is originally from West Virginia and lives in California, Jeff says that I can circular breathe while I talk, and I don't know if that's a popular thing for me or a slam, but Jeff loves me, so I'll take it as a love thing. So I have one question here from a friend of mine who I think you're all going to identify with what her request is right here. I'm stuck. I have buyers who want to sell but won't sell till they have something to purchase. I do believe that is common because we have people who are wedged in their houses. So they have a choice to make, right? And the choice they have to make is, which one is the most important outcome? Is it getting top dollar for the house, Or is it buying the perfect house? If they say both, you have to say, you have to pick. And so here's what you're going to do. Take an ink pen and a piece of paper, okay? This is your demonstration part, and please don't judge me because I'm not arty. We're going to make a line, all right? And on this end, we have money. And on this end, let's just put a heart for perfection because, love is perfect, the agape love. And so where do you want to be? If they say, well, we need the money, then that's when you say, all right, then I know what we can sell for right now, ish. I can pull the comps, and ish, it's worth this. Now, it could go up. Are you going to be sad if we leave money behind? Well, yeah. Well, then don't sell. It could go down. You're going to be glad you sold? Yeah. And I don't know which way it's going, but I do have an angle on this number. I don't know when this is going to hit over here. I don't know when you're going to find the perfect house, but I can tell you this. If this isn't ready when this is, you're going to miss it. I will tell you right now, I have 4 different clients who would like to sell, but they don't want to sell till they buy. So I'm exactly in the same boat you are, my friends. I already have their photos done. I already have the measure done. I have the paperwork done. The minute that house shows up, we can lock and load. And that way we are as ready as we can be to logistically try and handle this domino effect. I will find that your people, when they are that committed to selling, that they will do the photos and the measure and the paperwork now, they're more active lookers too, which means they're more likely to catch that house when it comes on the market. And they also know they're probably not going to get to take 20% off because the right house, they're going to have to pay for it to get it. So set yourself up for success by handling the logistics in advance. And it doesn't solve for everybody because the market does have limited inventory, but it's probably going to unlock a couple of people. Now, for the rest of y'all that had other things, I'm going to keep making my Monday videos and the Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. So make sure you're following me on social, and I'll keep dropping videos. I'll try and answer your questions. And the last thing that I'm going to jump into here is for actually a lender who follows me. And I want you realtors to listen to this because our lenders are having a really tough time right now. With the sales volume off and interest rates being up, they don't even have refi business right now. So a lot of your lenders are watching their paychecks dry up. So you're probably getting more prospecting calls than you've ever gotten from lenders. Please be nice to them because they're doing everything they know to do to stay active and engaged. And a lender who's bringing knowledge to my office, I'm delighted for that. I was actually with one of my lenders this morning, volunteering at the food pantry. I love seeing her side by side with realtors. Be nice to your lenders because they are feeling defeated right now. And I think a little grace and kindness goes a long way because as realtors, we need our lending partners. Our lending partners need us too. And this is where we have to work together to stay in the business. And I just want to remind you too, if you're thinking about getting out, first of all, that's okay. We all make career changes and life changes. Just talk to a local reputable broker so that you can create a referral stream of revenue in the event that somebody calls you in the future. So everybody should know how to do that. But the second thing is, if you're just feeling defeated, but you don't really want to get out, I want you to take a day off. And by a day off, I mean cut off everything. No text, no phone, no social media. Go to the lake, go to the mountains, go to the backyard, completely unplugged. Let yourself breathe, let yourself reset. And that's going to give you some clarity on whether or not you want to continue with this stressful business because we need good people in this business. When you do that reset, some of y'all are going to say, you know what? I just needed a minute. I'm good. And I want you to know this piece. There are buyers in the marketplace and sellers in the marketplace in every single zip code, and they won't get over the finish line without you. They will have somebody in their ear discouraging them. They will be defeated by multiple offers. They won't really like the houses they're seeing. They're watching their rent go up, and they think nobody believes in them, and they think nobody believes in the American dream except for their realtor. And oftentimes their lender is right there with them saying, you can and you will, and I've got your back. It's going to be a tough market ahead, but there are houses bought and sold in every market. And if you quit now, somebody out there won't have access to their neighbor that they trust, who is knowledgeable and competent and ethical, and who really is in this for their best interest. So make sure you're getting that message out there because, friends, it may as well be you that's successful. Thank you for tuning in and hanging out with me for this hour. Please make sure you're taking note of the comment thread, and please make sure you make a friend through this process, because you don't have to do this by yourself. This can be a lonely business, but it doesn't have to be. And Harley, I'm absolutely saying a prayer for everybody that's on here today, because whether or not you know him, he knows you. And all we can do is the best we can do. So thank you for stopping in. Mwah! Go take care of somebody good, and I'll see you around.